Hey everyone, Organic Trucker here, coming to you from Hampton, Virginia, and it's Monday, November 17th, 2014, and today is a pretty special day in my life and in the life of several other people. I want to talk to you a little bit about an incident that happened a year ago today in Detroit, Michigan, and it's an event that really changed my life, and it's changed the life of several people as well. Anyway, as you know, I'm a truck driver. I've been driving trucks now for nearly 20 years, and in that time, I've had a pretty safe record. Over 2.5 million miles. I had just a few minor crashes, accidents that have been the fault of other people. And I haven't been cited for any of those. And a year ago was one of those days. I was coming up from Findlay, Ohio. Picked up a load at a department store distribution center, and was heading to north of Detroit, Michigan. And this was on a Sunday. It was about noontime, thereabouts, and it was raining. And anyway, I'm on I-94. Heading east, heading northeast through Detroit, and I'm in the far right-hand lane, traveling at 55, and I look off to my left, and I see a Mercury Sable that was starting to lose it, starting to fishtail. I could tell that he had lost control of his car. And so I started slowing down, and was hoping that he'd be able to get past me. Well, unfortunately, that didn't happen. Like I said, I'm in the far right lane. He's taking about 2 lanes to the left of me. He's fishtailing, and anyway, he comes up, clips my front bumper, and which sends him spinning off into the opposite direction. He hit the median wall, bounced off. Then a blue Honda Civic came while he's spinning, and she crashes into him, sends him spinning again. In the meantime, I'm in the process of getting my truck stopped, and just as soon as I got it stopped, set the air brakes, set the emergency 4-way flashers on. I'm collided from the rear by a Hyundai Sonata, and it was a pretty traumatic thing. I grabbed my phone, got out of the truck, went over to the first vehicle, the Mercury Sable, to check on those people. The driver had cuts all over his head. His female passenger in the front seat was unconscious, laying over the seat. She was completely unresponsive. At first I thought she was dead. Then I saw some movements, on her chest. I could tell that she was breathing, so I was relieved on that. And then as I'm focusing my attention on the 2 people in the front, I noticed there's a third person in the back seat. He said it was okay, so I really didn't, my attention, I really didn't notice him that much. At any rate, so once I found out that those 3 had, said they were pretty much okay, and except for the young lady who was still passed out. I dialed 911 and did my best to try to explain what had happened and where I was at, because I'm not. It's been a long time since I've been in Detroit, and I wasn't familiar with the with the surrounding areas. I really didn't know really where I was, cross street or anything like that. So anyway, I finally walked up the freeway. By this, during all this time, people are slowing. Some people are slowing down. Some people are speeding up to get past all this, and you nearly get hit a few times trying to aid the people. So anyway, after I finally get a bearing at where I was at, came back and talked with the young lady in the blue Honda Civic. She was very, very shook up, and she was just crying and was really upset. So I just put my hand on her shoulder and said, "Okay, hey, everything's going to be all right. Just stay in your car. Don't get out. I don't know what kind of injuries she had. She said she couldn't. She wasn't feeling any injuries, but so I just told her just to stay wherever she's at, and I was able to pray with her and give her peace, give her comfort during this time of trauma, and so after I got talked with her, came back to the Mercury Sable. By this time, the driver was out of the car, and talked with him a little bit more, and I'm on the phone back and forth during all this, trying to get hold of my fleet manager, trying to get hold of the safety department to report what's happened. Walked back to the back of my truck. I noticed that the Hyundai had slid driver's side into the back of my truck, and as I came around the end of the truck, I saw something that just took my breath away. The driver was not moving. You got to picture this. His head is up against the back of my trailer. Big wound on the left side of his head. I came around to the passenger side. This time the passenger side door was open, and the passenger was out. A woman. Let's see. She was a 48-year-old woman. The driver of the Hyundai is a 58-year-old man. Anyway, he was sitting at the wheel, not moving at all. I looked in that car. I said, "This man's dead." I hadn't, when I saw that head wound, I just knew he was dead. I walked over the shoulder road, hit my knees, and I was just praying, "Lord, what just happened here?" And I didn't know really how to process all that. I've never been in a situation like this. In the next couple hours that we're there, I'm answering queries by the Michigan police. Numerous times, try to explain to them, what I saw, what happened, and being on the phone with our safety department, getting coordinated as to what's getting the information, all the information that we needed, and here even recall it now, I get pretty choked up about it, and everything, it all came crashing in on me when I started seeing the Michigan police setting up the tripods for laser measurement. At that time, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. Because I know that that means that there has been a fatality, or they're pretty sure there's going to be one. And the state trooper came back to my truck, and he told me that so far, well, they transported 2 people at that point, and a total of 3 were injured. And the officer came back and says, we're not expecting them to make it. At least 2 of them. They're in pretty bad shape. And I said, yeah, I kind of figured that I knew that the man who rear-ended me was in bad shape, and the passenger in the Mercury, she was unconscious, and so I pretty much knew that my life was about to change. Well, the scene gets cleaned up. I get towed off, even though I can, my truck's drivable. I just had a messed up bumper, and the trailer bumper was messed up. But because of the seriousness of the crash, the DOT requires that the truck go through post-crash inspection, make sure everything is correct and I understand that. So I got checked into a hotel there in town, and that was Sunday. By Sunday night, I'd been on the phone with Julie, our claims person in Tacoma, and she said that so far she didn't have any information on any of the people yet, and by this time I called Melissa and told her what was going on, and I was feeling pretty down Sunday night. Anyway, Monday morning comes, and things were still okay, pretty okay that morning. Then probably around 10 or 11 o'clock, I just got this overwhelming feeling of sorrow, and I just lost it there in the hotel room. I just knew someone had died. I just knew it. And for the next 3 days, I'm stuck in Detroit, waiting for the Michigan DOT to release my truck. I spent 3 days there waiting, and without any word. Our company was pretty frustrated that we weren't getting much word from the authorities in Michigan. It wasn't until like 2 weeks later. It was, I think, like a couple days before Thanksgiving. Finally got my first break of information, and it was bitter. Talked with Julie in Tacoma. I knew it, and I could sense from her she was holding back on me. I said, Julie, what is it? She said, well, there was a fatality. I go, what? Wait a minute. How could this be? You told me that the driver who rear-ended me with the head wound, he's alive. The young lady who was passed out in the Mercury, you tell me she's alive. The young lady who's driving the blue Honda, she's alive. There was a passenger in the Hyundai. She was up and walking around. And she said, no, she's okay. I said, well, the driver of the Mercury, he's had minor cuts. And he said, yeah, he's okay. I said, and the passenger, I saw him up walking around. She goes, he's the one who died. I go, what? What was wrong with him? She says, I really don't know. I don't have all the details, but apparently it's something about a blood clot, and they pulled life support on him a few days later. I said, oh my goodness. And I said, okay, well, I was sad, but also relieved to know, okay, to have some closure as to what had happened. Well, fast forward now. Okay, that was a year ago. Okay, now my world got shook up one more time. Just when you think that everything is settled and you finally gotten closure, things change on you. So, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, as some of you know, that I'm in the process of changing jobs once again. After that incident, that really that did a thing on my mind. I had to make some changes. I finally realized that life is short. You never know what's going to happen. And the company I was driving for, I was assigned to the closest terminal is in Lebanon, Tennessee. I live in Hampton, Virginia, and it's sometimes very difficult to get home. So I knew I needed to make some changes, and so I left that company. Came on now with in January. I came on with the company I'm with now, and things things are better. Home every week. Pretty much usually on the weekend. Sometimes yesterday, I didn't get home until yesterday evening. So I'm spending. Normally I'd be out rolling there on a Monday, but this week I'm taking my day off today. But I had to make a tremendous pay cut in order to come to the company I'm with now, and with the hopes of being able to get into one of their local positions. Well, that's not happening anytime soon. So I realize now I need to make yet another change. So I've been out shopping for another carrier where I could make more money than what I was than what I'm making now. And so anyway, I say all that to say this. Last 10 days ago, I got called by one of the companies, well, the first company that I had applied with for a regional position out of Williamsburg, doing pretty much the same thing that I'm doing now. Uh, they pick up the same at one of our large customers, hauling the same product pretty much that I'm hauling now, but they paid like 9 cents per mile more. So I had applied with them and hadn't heard back from them for like a week or so. Finally got through to them, and they said, "Well, we're going to have to pass on you because the crash you had in Detroit." I said, "But wait a minute, it wasn't my fault. I was one of the victims. I wasn't cited. Wasn't blamed. I wasn't. I'm not. I wasn't at fault for that. My company, company safety department, isn't holding me responsible. Michigan isn't holding me responsible. I haven't been sued or anything by any of the other drivers. Didn't receive any citations. So why do I suffer?" So, well, that's just our policy. No serious accidents in in a year, in the previous year. And I said, well, okay. And so I put in a couple more applications with some with some other carriers, and one of the recruiters talked with one of the recruiters, and so I told her, I said, "Look, here's my situation. I do have this fatality on my record." She says, "Okay, well, that shouldn't be a problem. Just send us a copy of the crash report." When I finally got the accident reports, I saw something that was very shocking. Something I didn't realize. I now know that I have been operating under a complete misunderstanding of what happened for a year. It's my recollection, not just now, but at the time of the crash, that the passenger in the back seat in the Mercury, the car that started the whole chain reaction, my understanding was that he was a young black man. I saw walking around talking with the driver, and so that's what's been been my understanding all this time, that apparently he had some sort of internal injury, and then had developed a problem, had checked into the hospital, and then later died. And that was the impression I'd gotten from Julie. Well, as I'm looking at this report, I'm realizing that isn't what happened at all, because I'm seeing that the passenger, Richard Bloomquist, age 47. So wait a minute. That can't be. The person I saw was much younger. I said, well, maybe the officer got the birth year wrong. The man was born, here on the report says born 1966. Well, maybe it was 1986, and the man's actually 27. And I'm thinking, okay, that's got to be what it is. They wrote down a 6 instead of an 8. But then I realized no, that something else isn't squaring. Is the man who died, Richard Bloomquist, has the same middle and last name as the driver. Harley's name is Harley Allen Bloomquist. Richard is Richard Allen Bloomquist. They're apparently related, and so I the inner geek in me started doing some research, and thank God for Google and Facebook. Finally found out what had really happened. Found Richard's Facebook page, and on it was memorial to him, and his birth date matches what's in the report. I found out that he had died on November 22nd, and that squares with pretty much with what Julie told me. And it turns out that apparently Richard's sister had posted on his Facebook page, what was going on with Richard, and based on what she wrote, I learned a whole lot more. Apparently, he had a broken neck. So I don't know who it was that I saw up walking around, who I thought was the passenger, but it wasn't. It wasn't Richard. He must have still been in the backseat of that car. And to this day, I'm still trying to figure out, wait a minute, I looked in the backseat, I didn't see anyone. Okay, when I came back, the first time when I was in the car, I really didn't get a good look in the back seat. So I just kind of caught him out of the corner of my eye, because my attention is focused on the driver, the driver and the front seat passenger. So I knew there was someone in that back seat, and I distinctly remember saying that it was okay. So apparently he didn't realize that he had been injured. And if he's got a broken neck, he wasn't up walking around. And after I went to his Facebook page and saw his picture, I said, wait a minute, no, this isn't the man I saw. So he might have been laying down on that back seat. I don't know, but at least now I know. Now I know what had happened, and it also explains. Also, as I started reading the post that his sister had made, it also explains what happened that Monday morning when I had this overwhelming feeling of sorrow. Not of dread, but of deep sorrow. And found out that he had gone into a coma Monday morning, and he never came out of it. The blood clot had apparently his injuries were to the point, I guess they couldn't operate on him, and he was declared brain dead, and they pulled the plug. And that's what God was communicating to me, even though I didn't know at the time who Richard Bloomquist was. I had someone completely else in mind. And I wish I could let him know on how sorry I am that he was involved in this situation. I know it wasn't his fault. It wasn't my fault. It was one of those things where his son had lost control of the vehicle, and I can only imagine what Harley's going through. I guess I said all that to say this, and I know it's I've been kind of rambling, but take life seriously. You never know You never know what's going to happen from moment to moment. You know, I started off that day feeling pretty good, and it all changed like that. My life changed. The Bloomquist's life changed as well. So what about you? What about you? Are you ready? Are you ready for whatever comes? Have you made peace with your Creator, Yahweh? Have you got that settled in your soul? I hope that you do. I hope that you get that taken care of today.